Hi there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you for joining me again today. Today I've got a slightly different top tip. It's more of a technique than a tip, but it is etched foil, basically. I saw this on the amazing Jennifer Maguire's YouTube channel and I thought I'm going to have to give this a go. So I have, and it's what I've used in the background of this card. I will make the card in a moment, but I want to go through what it looks like on the various colours of foil that we've got. Now, the suggestion from Jennifer is that you use a foil that's not completely mirror, which is really where we sit, with possibly the exception of black and copper. But this is the gold, and I've used the birch background stamp set. I don't know if you can see that. I'm hoping you can, but it has that weird illusion of it being in the card, not on the card. This is the copper, which, as I say, is a little shiny, I think, possibly, but I'm hoping you can see the finish in that. This I've used the frosted foliage snowflake stamp on. This is the champagne, which is what I've used here, and this is the silver. So I'm hoping you can see that. I haven't tried it on the basic black, or the black, but yeah, and I've just realised I haven't cut cardstock for the champagne foil, but that's fine, we can do that. There's a piece of it, I'll turn it over so that you can't see quite so much reflection. So I thought I would show you how it's done. It's really quite straightforward. So I'm going to cut a mat that is 5.5 by 3 3/4. It's one of my fairly standard mat sizes. And I will have all the dimensions, including the dimensions that you'd need to use if you're using North American letter card. Those will be on my website, and that's linked immediately below. So that is that mat, oops, ready to go. So I'll just turn that over so it doesn't blind you. Then I need some petal pink, which I should have pre-cut, she says, hopefully. Yes, I have, I just can't get my hands on it. There we go. So petal pink for the main mat, and I've got terracotta tile, which I'm going to be using for the die cut and the card base. And then I'll need the centre of the petal pink for the die cut centre. But I want to start by showing you how to do this etched effect. So as I say, I'm using the frosted foliage, and I'm going to be building up a pattern. So I need a piece of rough card underneath. Sorry if there's glare, not much I can do about that. You do need to use a good amount of your embossing buddy, and I am deliberately kind of dropping it. I don't want to rub it too much, because you could end up scratching the surface of your foil, which would be a shame. So I'm going to start with the blobby foliage, just because I don't know quite what I would call it. I'm calling it blobby. Make sure it's well inked with Versamark, and I'm just going to, as I say, build up a pattern. So one there, and then we'll come in there. Now you do have to be a little careful, because we are on a glossy cardstock. You do want to be careful that you don't skid. It is quite easy to skid, so you do need to do a definite up and down rather than a swoosh. So that's all I need that one for. Then I've got the little, there's sort of, I don't know, they're seed heads. I've actually got some seed heads that look fairly similar in my herb garden, so seed heads. And just come into the bottom. And a bit more. So some of this will actually not be seen because it will be covered up by the large die cut, but that's not to say we shouldn't have it. Hopefully that doesn't overlap too much. No, that's fine. And then finally the snowflakes, just to fill in the gaps down the side. Oops, that way up. There's a little too much of the embossing buddy showing, but we'll be fine. So there, and ink it up again, and come in. Oh, no, I'm going to need the other side. The joy of this particular stamp is that it's got three sort of, it's almost triangular, so you've got three lengths that you can use. There we go. Right, so that's all of the stamping done for that. And then I've got in here clear embossing powder. So I need to pick this up carefully to not touch where the Versamark is, because that would be a shame. And just add embossing powder. And then just tap it off. Have I got it all? Yes. And then just from the back, tap to make sure you've got any loose bits off. Right, okay, so time for the trusty cheese board and my heat tool. Just pop that on there. And you want to be careful not to overheat your foil. It will curl a little, but just keep your heat tool, moving. Don't sit in one spot for too long. It will melt more quickly than you're perhaps used to. To do that. Any other places that are not shiny, just there. And that is all there is to it. So I'm going to leave this to dry because embossing powder does melt and become liquid. So let's get rid of the excess embossing powder, of which there is always inevitably some in my life. In fact, I've got one of those. This is a Waitrose version of a Swiffer cloth. So just, ooh, and I've thrown something on the floor. There we are. That's better. Right, so there we are. And again, I am actually going to use this. Waitrose call them disposable duster cloths, and basically they pick up dust, and as embossing buddy is basically dust, you can polish it with one of these cloths without scratching your foil. And it is really weird close up. It looks like that it's been embossed, so hence etched, and it's beautiful. I hope you can see that in the camera. Right, okay, so let's get everything else done. So I'm going to start by, whoops, trying to pick up my piece of card. That would be a good start. So I need one of these for the die cut. I'm using the matching dies, the Frosted Frames dies, and you get the big frame and then a little frame. You also get snowflakes, some more foliage, and another seed head. So I'm going to run this through my big shot, and any die cutting machine is perfectly fine. I would run it backwards and forwards a couple of times because it is a fairly intricate die. Just check that I've cut. Yes, I have. And then I'm going to grab the terracotta tile ink pad and my Sending You a Little Christmas Cheer stamp, which is in the same Frosted Florals stamp set, Frosted Foliage stamp set even. And there we go. And then this, I don't need that anymore, so let's pop that out of harm's way. This I'm going to just run through again, pop through the die cutter. So say you don't need to have a big shot, you can use any die cutting machine. We're hoping that we will have our new die cutting machine soon. I'm not going to say more than that, I don't think, because I have no idea when it's coming. Oh, can't get my die cut off the plate. There we go. One die cut. So this I will then use as my mat. So the longest time is going to be now getting this sorted out. And I am reasonably rough with my die cuts. You know, it is card, it's not, it's fragile, but it's not incredibly fragile. So I was trying to find my take your pick tool. Don't go mad with it, but I do wibble it around quite a lot and it stands up. It's good quality card. Good quality card is going to pay off in the long run. And it's one of the things that I do find slightly depressing. On some of the Facebook groups that I'm on, people will go on and say, "Ooh, I want to make lots of cards, where should I start?" And people will suggest that they go to the pound shop and get really cheap card. And guess what? Use cheap card, make a cheap card. You're just not going to get the same really good results, in my humble opinion, as they say. Right, so bit of multi-purpose liquid adhesive, and let's go this way up this time. I went the other way up last time. And there's quite a useful, very slightly embossed frame from the die that I've used on the terracotta tile, so it's very easy to line up your die cut on top. And then I've got the Petal Pink Rose Rhinestone Gems, which are in the annual catalogue. Let me pop that on before I stab myself. And I'm using these diamonds. I'm just popping those in the corner. Just there. Oop. There we go. I love these. They're a really sort of in-your-face bling. Right, okay, so liquid adhesive. Now I'm going to be very odd. I'm going to put my adhesive onto my mat. And the reason I'm doing that is because that means I can see where the hole is. I know that it's a very narrow edge that I've allowed. So by putting the adhesive on my Petal Pink mat, I know I'm not going to end up with adhesive in the hole, which at the moment I don't want. So press that down, turn it over, give it a good press from the back, and it will help flatten out the foil. And then we can pop that. Let me just fold that. And this is just a half sheet of A4, and again I will have the dimensions for the North American version on my website, which is linked immediately below in the description bar. You'll also find there a list of the products that I've used, link to my online store, joining my team, that good stuff. So that's all there, and it's also over on my website, so lots of places to have a look. Pop that on, and again I'm going to press from the back, and then just add some dimensionals to the back of here. Oh, I've got a little stray bit, there we are. So, just 2 more. And there we go. And just peel off my backings. Trying to get them to not stick onto the dimensionals that I've already peeled the backings off. Always a plan. And then turn that over and pop it onto our card. And there we go. 2 frosted florals. Who says Christmas has to be icy colours or red and green? But just to show you that lovely etched effect in the background. So I hope you found that helpful. As I say, I got the idea from Jennifer Maguire, who is just amazing. So I thought I'd have a go, and it's beautiful and so easy. So thank you very much indeed for watching me. If you've enjoyed that, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't already subscribe and would like to, there's a button in the bottom right hand corner. Any questions or comments, you can leave those below or over on my website. And as I say, all the links to my website, online store and what have you are also below. Thank you very much indeed, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye!